Rochelle, and I work full-time. I get the blessing of working full-time with Ultimate Mission, and I've worked with them for almost 3 years now, and it has changed my world, changed my life in many wonderful ways. So I want to just share, David shared a little bit. I want to share just a little bit with you again about who Ultimate Mission is and really how this project got started, because that's really key to understanding how important this topic of period poverty is. So I have a short video here I want to share with you.
There is a pressing issue that affects women worldwide. They are undervalued, abused, and the prevalence of child marriages, it's heartbreaking. These realities contribute to alarmingly high rates of mental health issues among girls and women in these communities. At Ultimate Mission, we believe in the power of transformation. We hire the wives of Bible workers and pastors, many of whom are undereducated and unemployed, and we offer them a path to purpose. With a monthly stipend and comprehensive training, we empower these women to become agents of change in their villages, to be village health care workers. This initiative not only supports their families, but also enables them to work alongside their husbands, bringing healing and the gospel to their communities. We have witnessed remarkable changes in the lives of our workers and those that they serve. By providing essential health services, these women demonstrate to others that they are valued and that their lives matter. Our mental health courses focus on teaching active listening and offering non-judgmental support, ensuring that every woman feels heard and understood. These women are equipped to empower mothers with skills to raise healthy, happy children. They show that small changes can lead to significant improvements in quality of life. And through education, we aim to challenge the stigma associated with being born a girl. Most importantly, they bring hope into thousands of homes. The hope that their children will not only survive past the age of 5, but thrive and grow. Hope for a better tomorrow. Our ultimate goal is to transform healing for the body into healing for the soul. We desire for our workers and their husbands to work alongside each other, being the guiding light in their communities, to work as Jesus worked, and to lead their neighbors into a relationship with Him. But we can't do this alone. We need your help. Your support can amplify our efforts to empower women, strengthen families, and transform communities. Together, we can create lasting change.
So that's a little snapshot of what we do. We are based here in Oregon City, so we are a local nonprofit that is empowering women to change the lives of other women, and in return, the husbands around them. I think I saw somebody poke. Is there still a head at that door?
I don't think so.
Hopefully she, okay. Or maybe she'll find her way around to the other door. And Ultimate Mission has been doing this training since 2014. We've been working with these ladies. And it is through these women and our experience with them and a friend of mine where I learned about this pressing need for the project Everygirl. That's kind of how this all started. This is a project that we're hoping will help churches to find a need in their communities and help the women that live right around them and the girls. And as I did the research for this project and learned how I was going to implement this and what was going to happen, it was staggering what I was learning. So first off, this started as a way to help women around the globe, because I knew many women had a hard time affording period products in other countries. And some of the stories that we were hearing was just heartbreaking. So before coming here and hearing David, have any of you heard of the term period poverty before? Okay, we've got a couple, but
Saw it in your letter.
saw it in my letter, yes. Well, until I started researching this, I had never heard it either. And I just started working on this project at the beginning of this year. So this is how new everything is and how new my education is on this. Period poverty is when you can't afford the products you need, you don't have the education that you should have, or the resources for good sanitation. So you don't have a way to wash up easily or safely. You're not educated on even what a period is or how to take care of yourself. And these are all things that face a lot of women. In fact, around the globe, at least 500 million women are living in period poverty. Disposable products are too expensive. There's a lot of shame and stigma involved, so women aren't going to work. Girls will drop out of school because they don't have the products that they need, and that cycle of period poverty just continues. Okay. This lack of education, so there's a huge lack of education in other countries that has led to this great disparity over there. And that is one of the things that we are wanting to challenge, is this lack of education. In fact, as I was working on getting this project, I realized that the shame and the stigma of having a period is heartbreaking in some of these countries. In many communities, there are harmful social norms and beliefs surrounding menstruation that are just making this problem worse. Even today, in some parts of the world, girls and women who menstruate are still viewed as dirty. They can't go places. They're restricted from their normal life. Yes, like unclean in the Bible.
अंकल एक पैड मिलेगा?
Periods as a topic is so tabooed. There's so much shame associated with it.
कि आप कभी मेडिकल स्टोर पे जाओगे ना, तो आपको ब्लैक पॉलिथीन के अंदर उसको पैक करके देते हैं.
This side.
जब मेरे को पीरियड्स हुए थे, मम्मी ने कहा था देखो अब जब पीरियड्स होंगे ना तुमको, तो तुमको किचन में नहीं जाना है और मंदिर के पास तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं जाना है.
तो वो केस एक अपवित्र वाला मानेगा. उसके हाथ से पानी भी पीना पसंद नहीं करते हैं. वो नहाने धोने से भी वो शुद्ध नहीं होगी.
महामारी के समय मुझे मम्मी ने बताया है कि हमें खट्टा वगैरह नहीं खाना चाहिए, जैसे छाछ, अचार. उसके तीसरे दिन सर धो लेना चाहिए, फिर उसके बाद 7वें दिन.
A very strong element of the problem in rural India is the whole web of myths and taboos, the wrong information, the misinformation that they've received.
अगर कोई सांप आपके पैड के ऊपर से या कपड़े के ऊपर से चला गया तो आपको मासिक आना बंद हो जाएगा. 10-15 किलोमीटर जाओ, आपको अलग नया मिथ मिलेगा.
Girls don't even know what periods are. हमारी के बारे में कोई जानकारी है आपको? नहीं. आप periods के बारे में नहीं जानते?
हाँ थोड़ी है, थोड़ी नहीं है.
There is zero female healthcare seeking behavior. So if there is a problem, they will not voice it out loud.
Girls have to sit in the school for 8 to 10 hours and their only solution is to then not show up to school.
Women in India lose their lives because of poor management of periods, and it's because of this lack of confidence and the lack of facilities.
और जो मेरी बड़ी बहन है उन सभी को माहवारी के बारे में जानकारी दी जाए और जो पुरानी ज़माने की जो गलत जानकारी हैं उनसे दूर दूर किया जाए.
And that's my hope too, is that we can bring to light some of these myths, taboos, and educate these women so a lot of the stigma can end. And this information here is really what got this project started. I knew that we had to do something about it. And so our first step is to ask churches, if you have a sewing club or people who are interested in sewing, to come along and help us by making reusable pads that we can send over. They're really simple to make, they're really simple to use, and they're really light to ship. And something as simple as this makes a huge difference. Last April, we were headed into Ethiopia to do, we did an evangelism and a feeding program over there with some of our workers helping us. And like I said, this project is brand new, so I said, this is a perfect place to go test this out. And so we were able to take over a few kits. We took over about 23 kits with us, thanks to the Grants Pass Church and the Hills and Valleys Church. They helped us sew up a bunch of kits really quick, and we took them over there. And what I learned while we were over there, we cannot make enough of these pads for these girls over there. It is shocking on the need for this over there. And so I am hoping that you guys can help. If you know people in your church wants to do a sewing bee. We have pads or patterns and instructions for how to put a church group together, how to sew everything. I have patterns I have printed out. They are back there. You can take with you and start right away if you want. I've got them available on our website. And I would like at this point in time, Lynette, her church has graciously, amazingly stepped up and is taking this call. And so I want her to go ahead and come up and just share a little bit about why her church is so on board with this project. So Lynette, you're...
Thank you. Well, I actually had the opportunity to go with Rochelle to Ethiopia. And the reason why I'm interested in Ethiopia is because I have lived in Ethiopia for 7 years of my life, and then I've made 3 trips back to Ethiopia since that time, and 2 of them were with Ultimate Mission, and I just really like to help the people in Ethiopia. And the area where they happened to be working was the same area where near the college where my husband and I were for those 7 years. And so I came back from Ethiopia, and one of the ladies there, she had actually, Rochelle told me, there's somebody in your church who would like to do this project. And so I just got back, and sure enough, there she was. She was talking about it, and I said, oh, I've just been there. I would really like to help you. And so we have been sewing and sewing and sewing, and we have probably about 10 ladies in the church that are really interested in helping. Some of the ladies are just really good at making these shields. You tell me to stop when you want me to stop. Anyway, some of the ladies are really good at making these shields. And you know, if you sew, you have fabric everywhere that you're probably never going to use, and this is a really good way to use it. So this is the woven fabric, and then this is a pad which fits into this holder really nice, and it is made out of flannel. And so we've been buying up flannel. Joann's was going out of business, and we bought a bunch of flannel, and I was just going to show you. I sewed this one in about 7 minutes. I've got myself down to how fast I can sew them. And I really haven't, I've got some of these shields cut out, but I haven't actually sewn one yet. But I've been making the pads, and then we also made bags, and that's a lot of fun to sew those. Yeah, like this is the style that we've been sewing. And so I don't know what else to say except that I happen to know, because of my connections with people from Ethiopia. I knew in that middle picture somebody who travels to Ethiopia about once a month or once every 6 weeks. He has a business over there. And so I took the products to his wife. He wasn't there that day, and she was so excited. And so right away she tried to put one together. We also send a couple pair of panties. You're going to go through all that. And so anyway, she was really excited and put one together, and she was going to show her husband what he was taking over there to Ethiopia. And I just have to add one more thing. So my husband knows how excited I am about this project, and he said, "What did you do when you were over there?" You know, well, there was nowhere to buy anything like that at that time, and I really doubt that there's really anywhere to buy anything like that now. And so I had to take the products with me, and that's what I did. And back in those days, missionaries were there for 3 years at a time, so I would take 3 years worth of product with me. And now the missionaries come home once every year, so it's a little bit different. So I think that's mainly what I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. And I'm so appreciative to your group, which I'll tell that story a little bit later, but their group is helping me keep a promise to a whole bunch of ladies in Ethiopia. And so right now I'd like to go ahead and open up. I can tell you lots more about the kits, but it's also a lot easier right now. Do you have any questions? Yes.
So I'm trying to understand, so what you're sewing is what they use for their period. Right?
Yes.
They don't have, I mean, I have a pretty easy, well, I'm past that.
Right. Right.
When I was younger, I mean, it was so just disposable.
Yeah.
So they don't have that ability.
It is too expensive over there for them to go there. And another thing I just learned, in Ethiopia right now, in the rural villages, 1 in 5 girls and women use nothing. Yeah. Other ones are just whatever rags that they can find. Yeah, so you can imagine. You know, so once a month, some of these girls, they're not going to school. They're missing out on school for a week because of this, and work and whatever else. David.
So I understand not having the proper products, but what I don't understand when I was watching the video, I think it was mostly in India as that first video was taken, is that a lot of the young women are totally unaware of the biological process that's taking place. So my question would be, where are the mothers and grandmothers?
They don't know either.
But they've all gone through it.
So I watched another video on this that was just really, it's just all very shocking. And the film crew, they were interviewing these older women, you know, like, what do you know about periods? And one mom's like, it has something to do with having kids. And another woman, she's like, only God knows. They're not educated on this either. So it's something that's happening to them, and they have no idea why. They really don't understand what this is all about, which is one of the reasons for the shame and stigma, because here you have girls who just bleed once a month. Who knows why? You know, they must be dirty, unclean.
So is part of your ministry the educating part too?
Absolutely. So when we send these kits over, so we send them, so like Lynette, when her suitcase gets over there to Ethiopia, our supervisor that we have working over there will go pick them up, and he will distribute them to the workers that we have working in the area. And they have been educated on periods and hygiene and all of that. And so as they hand out the kits, they get to educate the girls and the women.
So in the kit, are there multiple pads for the girls?
So what we put in one of these kits is we put in 2 shields, and this shield is made, so there's 3 layers to this. 100% cotton on the inside and the outside, and then there's a waterproof layer in the middle. So there's a nice, to help. And then your snaps, that just snaps around your panties, holds it in place. Yep.
There's 2 pair of panties in each one?
Yep. And we throw in some underwear too, and we kind of go, especially Ethiopia, the women are undernourished. So like girls extra large, women smalls, those will cover a lot of range of people. So they get 2 of these, and then they get 8 of these flannel pads. And you can put 3 of these, if you needed to, into a shield, depending on how heavy your flow is. And so then they just put in their shield, tuck in their pad. When this one gets soaked, take it out, wash it.
And they just put that shield inside their underwear?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So like our disposable ones, we stick them into our underwear and have the little wings.
Usually stick.
Right. And so this one has snaps, and so that helps hold it in place.
The shield is not meant to be used apart from the pad.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, you need them both because this won't soak up much. Yeah, but these will soak up quite a bit. And like I said, you can put up to 3 of these in here. So if you're having a heavier day.
Washable, reusable.
How long will that last then? Just
Depending on how well they use them, you know, and everything. These could last 2 or 3 years. So definitely more economical. This is something they can afford and reuse and reuse and reuse. The other thing that we do, and because of like the shame and stigma, like we saw with like India, is a lot of the girls in India, when they use whatever old rags they can find, they use it, wad it up, bury it. They do not want to see it. They do not want that bloody rag hanging up on their laundry line. And so it's that bad. And so we choose colors and patterns that help to hide the stains. And so when you wash this and hang this up on your line, that doesn't look like a bloody rag. So the girls have more pride in it, and they can rewash it and reuse it, and they're not searching for scraps every chance that they get.
Do they have access to ammonia?
To what?
To ammonia?
You know, I'm not positive about that.
Because if they do, ammonia takes out blood stains better than
Okay, I'll have to remember that. I'll have to do some research on that one. We use a little bit of ammonia. I'm not sure if they have that or not.
Have they tried this in any of the villages, and how are the girls responding? Are they washing it and using it?
So, like I said, it's brand new, and I haven't been able to touch back with the village that we went to in Ethiopia. Like I said, this is the first time we were able to hand them out. So I haven't gotten a whole lot of response back yet. But a lot of the ones that we sent to Ethiopia were actually, and this is an option too, if your church is not a sewing church, if there's like nobody that sews, you can actually buy them on Amazon.
no surprise.
You can get it on Amazon.
Those look nicer.
These do. These look a lot nicer. And these ones, so I've got some saved on an Amazon wish list that you can have access to if you want, that are a little bit bigger than this. Because these ended up being smaller than I thought that they would be. But I tell you, I took these over there and I was telling, so I'll tell you that story a little bit later. But the women, like, we don't care if this is small, we'll take whatever we can get. They are appreciative. I'm sure they are reusing it. I will be touching bases back with my worker here in a little bit to get a report back. But I also know that they are already, the villagers are talking with Gannett, and Gannett, who is our worker. Gannett is talking to Taraku, who is our supervisor, and Taraku is telling me these girls are wondering when they're getting more kits.
How's that labeled?
This one is it's actually, you can, on Amazon, you can order, yeah, it's an iron-on. Oh, thank you. It's an iron-on, and I can send you the pattern for the name, the logo. But the other thing that you can do, so like with Lynette, they have a gal there. She loves sewing these bags, and so we let her sew away, have fun. But if it's like, okay, well that's nice, but I don't necessarily need to sew the bag, you can also order these bags from us, $1.25 each. $1.25. $1.25. And that just covers our costs, And so you can get these bags and send them over there as well. So like Lynette was saying, so yeah, we do 2 shields, 8 of the pads, and then we throw in a little washcloth well, we weren't doing the bar of soap. We decided not to do the bar of soap because of weight restrictions. But we provide money to our supervisor to, he can put soap in there. So underwear, washcloth. I know there's one more thing.
Can I put one together for you so they can see?
Yep, go for it. And then, here's the other thing. And then Ziploc bags. So we put in 2 of the Ziploc bags. So they have a place if they're at school, if they're at work, seal it up. They can even wash it. Put some water in there, get it washed up, you know.
Do you have underwear? That's what I was looking for.
Oh, I don't know. Is it in there?
No,
I don't know, honestly.
Okay. All right.
Here's a bear. Thank you.
Oh, great. Okay.
These get rummaged through in so many different things.
Okay, so this fits into here. And like she said, 2 or 3 of them. Or just one. And then this snaps around the crotch here.
And I will say, I have test driven this product, and it does work pretty good. I was actually pretty impressed.
So my new friend here, this lady, she put this together and she was so excited. She thought this was the greatest thing for her friends back in Ethiopia. Isn't that kind of cute? So here's the pad, and this part should not leak through. It should just be.
But if something happens and it leaks through.
No, I did it wrong.
Oh yeah, you do have it up backwards.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't want it to leak through to the panty. Okay.
Yep.
See, she did it right, and I looked at it and I said, yes, you were right, but I am the one who's wrong.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. And so yeah, but even if she does leak through the one, that's one reason why we provide 2. Yes.
And then if a church should make quite a quantity of this, do we get them to you, the ultimate mission, so that you can distribute them to the proper places?
Yes. Yes. And she's got the connection, so she's taking care of, their church is taking care of that because they do have that connection with Ethiopia, but for other countries and things like that, yeah, just get them to us and we will get them to where they need to go.
And Rochelle pointed out that by putting these plastic bags on Ziploc or whatever, that they can put their used ones inside, and then they could just wash them on one day, and they even could wash them inside that plastic bag. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. So any other questions? Right.
So there's not a difference between the bags? I mean, this one doesn't say size large. Size
Correct. Yep. I thought about that, but the complications of so like I said, with the underwear, we've got girls extra large and women small will pretty much cover most of them just fine. And they are very resourceful, so if it doesn't fit them, they know how to make things happen. So.
Yeah, they'll trade around with somebody else. They'll make it happen.
Yep.
I had somebody ask me, do they have bathrooms? I said, no.
Yeah, not necessarily.
And can't they buy these products? In the area where we were, it's very unlikely that they could buy any products. And they wouldn't have money.
Yeah.
They barely have money for food. You've heard of Ethiopia, people there are starving.
Yeah, the unemployment rate in Ethiopia is.
Rural towns, those aren't close to the city or anything, right?
Correct. But, especially in some of these places, India, Nepal, even in their big cities, they have slums. They have still lots of poverty going on where people can't get at them. Most of our workers work in outside villages. They work alongside their husbands or Bible workers or pastors, and they're usually put into areas of unreached areas to work. And so they are in the more rural areas where they don't have a lot of options. And so yeah, I have the patterns, instructions, including a fabric list. So we do have some guidelines for the fabric, both for durability, but also patterns and colors. There's some patterns and colors that would be offensive to some cultures. And so we kind of have an outline there of what is an acceptable pattern. And I kind of... And I brought along, this is the The PUL is PUL, polyurethane laminate fabric. So it's a waterproof fabric. And you can buy that on Amazon for about $70 for a whole bolt.
Okay, I was going to ask you where you get, if there's not a Joann's, where's the next Fred? I mean, I don't know where to buy. I'm not a sewer.
Michael's is taking over Joann's. So they may eventually carry it because Joann's did.
Cool. Yeah.
Let's check the Hobby Lobbies.
Yep. I'm not sure. I was able to find. I got to Joann's just in time for my bit.
Yeah, and Hobby Lobby said that they were discontinuing it when I went.
Okay. Good to know.
But it may come back if
Yeah.
there's a need.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you can buy fabric on Amazon.
Yeah. You can get a bolt of that, like I said, for about $70. And then, you're looking for colors, patterns that, a red stain on here, it's going to kind of blend in, Lighter fabrics like this, these can work really good for like the outside of the shield, the part that's not against the woman's body, but that's against the underwear. So we got this you're not going to notice stains on this one. So these are just some suggestions and guidelines and it's all neutral. So there's some places, animals, Muslim countries, animals, insects, things like that are not permitted.
Are those fat quarters?
No, these were just little scraps. And so, we are really careful with the patterns and the prints that we choose because of the cultural considerations.
And I think you said people.
Yes, no people, no animals. Ladybugs and butterflies you can get away with, especially if they don't have faces. And then, yellow in Thailand is a no-no because that's the king's color. So there's all these little things. We're not in Thailand right now, so yellow's okay-ish for now. But I'm hoping to get into Thailand. So, all right. So you're going to welcome, ladies. She can fill you in on all of the stuff we've been talking about. Are you sewers? No? Okay. Well, this next part of what I'm going to be going into, it will work really great for you too. As we were doing all of the research and stuff, let's see, what do we have here? For overseas, I also discovered period poverty is a huge problem right here in the United States. So last year, over 10 million women had to choose between their groceries and their pads here in the States. And it's not something that most of us know about because we don't talk about it. We don't have the shame and stigma the same as we do in India, but there is still this little, it's just not something you talk about. For us girls, it's kind of embarrassing, especially when our emotions take over and we feel like gross. We don't like to talk about it. And so many people don't know that this is a problem. But we've got 1 in 5 girls miss school each month because they don't have the products that they need to go to school. And here in the United States, 16.9 million menstruators are living in poverty. Okay, and in Oregon, 1 in 7 women and girls live below the poverty line. So this means there are women in your communities or that live around your churches that need the product. And so we are hoping that we can help women go back to school, girls go back to school, women go back to work, and provide them with this needed resource. Another thing I discovered, shocking, WIC, SNAP, doesn't cover them. If you're on public assistance, it does not cover your needed monthly thing. Yeah.
With that demographic and that statistic, is there connected geographical areas? Because I know in evangelism, one of the things we've been doing creatively to draw people into the meetings is called compassionate giveaways. And I had a friend in Tennessee that just started a 6-day seminar last week. And the first night, if you pre-register, each night you can get a free gift. And the first night, they were giving away baby formula and diapers.
Mhm.
And they had a significant number of women that pre-registered, came to the meeting, came for the meal, came for the meeting to get the free diapers and the free formula.
Yeah.
Then the next night, each night they had different gifts. So if you know you're in, I guess if you knew you were in an area where this statistic applied,
Yeah.
I would think it might be a possibility to throw in these sanitary products as part of a giveaway.
Yeah.
If you're in that area, so is there a geographical area connected with that demographic?
Well, that's really hard. That's really hard to really pinpoint. I live in Oregon City. Oregon City, you know, we're blue collar workers. You know, it's not a high poverty city, but we do have a lot of homeless. We're at the end of the bus station, and so we get a lot of homeless that come through. But also think about your moms that are escaping an abusive relationship. They leave the house with whatever they can put on their backs, if that. They're going to need pads. You think of college students who are working their way through college, and they're working and they're studying, and they got to figure out, what am I paying money for? Most college students have said that at least once in a school year, they have had to try to figure out how to afford their pads and everything else. A lot of them face that every single month. So if you've got college students in your neighborhood, if you've got high school students in your neighborhood, if you've got people in your neighborhood with these numbers, 16.9 million, most demographics will count. So you, maybe if you're living, and I don't know, I haven't looked, I'm gonna just kind of, you know, in the heart of downtown Lake Oswego, you know, it might not, for those who are not from the area, it's kind of one of our nicer neighborhoods. It's a little expensive to live in. They might not have the need as much, but you never know.
Isn't, though, my perception is that this is also a highly personal kind of product where maybe a woman might find, maybe desperation, I would imagine, would lead someone to accept anything. But if given the choice, don't women particularly have a preference and say, I prefer this type of product and not need anything else?
You know, I don't know, ladies, are you guys picky about your products? I mean, we might have a style we want, like pads versus tampons, but
I'm always brand name Pacific.
Yours were brave.
Specific.
I said, yeah, stuff might be. I mine was like, okay, which package is cheaper and works? You know, you do learn which ones, like, okay, those are too cheap. But yeah, also we're talking about populations that are grateful for anything too. So
I would imagine, though, if we're going to do something like this in an evangelistic context, it would behoove us to have some women on that committee helping make these decisions.
absolutely, women would be a great person to put on that committee.
That's what I was going to ask too, is how you presented it to your church. Was it more women's ministry, or was it church-wide? It sounds like it was kind of church-wide, but how do you kind of present it?
So how I would present it, I mean, and I come from a very small church, so we just all talk. I mean, so it's our whole church thing. But, you know, and most people that I've talked to about that are like, ooh, we need to talk to our women's ministries leader. She is a really good resource for getting this going. Now, you know, maybe she's up to her eyeballs and things, and she's like, this is a great idea. Can you help me implement it, you know? But I would make this known in your church. Like I would say, okay, church family, we are taking donations for period supplies. We have a basket in our foyer that you can bring in pads, tampons. You can even choose to do reusables. Yes?
So they can do pads and tampons?
Yep, you can.
We're probably here in the U.S.
This is for in the U.S. This is for the U.S. This is, sorry, we're on the U.S. project. Yes, sorry. Yes.
I'm the women's ministry
Okay,
leader at my
yeah.
church, so that's what I was envisioning.
Yeah.
Is to have you or a representative from your group come and talk to my church, because so what if the men are there? That's how they got there, through their mothers and their wives.
Exactly.
So it should be a project for everybody.
Exactly.
To educate them, and once you get them going and the women excited about the whole sewing and stuff, I was envisioning people at my church come from different places.
Yeah.
So maybe an afternoon, you know, after church, have a little lunch or whatever, and we can sew or whatever.
Yes, and we will definitely talk more, and I will. Yes, no, and that's the way to do it. You know, women's ministries can be one that can help get this going, but this really should be a church-wide thing. one, like we've seen so much. I mean, we didn't know about the problem because nobody's talking about it. It's because there is still, even in the States, a bit of shame, embarrassment about it. And if we can learn to talk about it, and our spouses can learn to talk about it with us, it makes happier marriages. I know, my marriage got a lot nicer when I learned to talk to my husband, and my husband learned, like, okay, I can talk about this, so we can discuss this calmly and rationally, okay, you know? And so, you know, with better communication, it's just...
the men will be willing to fork out the money.
Exactly. If they see the need, you know, and besides, you know, how many of you have daughters? You know, your husband realizes, oh, there's other daughters out there who don't have this. You know, daddies can get really...
Most of us anyway in our churches aren't educated.
Right.
So it is guidance. But so I didn't catch everything you said.
Yeah.
You could donate to this. If you put in the...
So for what I would like for the local project, let me just forward my slide here a second. Okay, because we're already here. So for the local project, you know, put out a donation bin in your church. Let your church know why there's such a great need for it, because most of us haven't heard about period poverty yet, you know, so they haven't either, and what you're collecting. So you can collect your things. Then you go and you get these cards. And I have a bunch I can hand out now for those who are just like, yes, I'm doing this. I will send you with a whole bunch of these cards. But I'll also provide you with a PDF so you can print off your own. These cards you hand out in your community, either to women personally, and a nice way to do that is just go, hey, give this card to somebody who you think might need it. So that way you're not saying, hey, I think you need this product. And on the back it says free disposable pads and tampons, free reusable pads, support for those experiencing period poverty. Need help? Visit this QR code to find an Everygirl distributor near you. So when you sign up to do this project, when you agree to do this project, you let us know, and I'm going to do something here in a second, and we will put you on our list. So when a girl signs that QR code, it takes them to our website. And I'm going to pop out of here really quick. And on our website, we have a list of all of the churches that are Everygirl distributors and who have the products that they need. Let me pull. Oh, I'm not connected to the internet, so I probably can't. All right. I didn't think far enough ahead, sorry. On the website that they go to, there's a place for them to put in their zip code. And it shows them the churches that are closest to them that are providing the product. And so your church email, or an email and a phone number of a contact person. So whoever you kind of like, okay, your job is to kind of screen this. It can be the church's email, it can be the church's phone number, but only if the church actually regularly checks its emails and phones and answers their phone calls. You know, so you might want to have a designated person set up. And so their number and their email would be on here. And so they can go and then find your church, and then your church can provide them with Everygirl bags. And so in the bag, we have, you know, enough supplies for a month. I would say at least 10. And you can choose pads, tampons, reusable. I am assuming here, mostly pads. It's going to probably be your best bet. Anybody will take pads. Some people might like the tampons, and if you have that option, it's nice. But that's kind of up to you guys to decide how you want to do that. But also, you know, put in a washcloth. And they have these really neat soaps. Oh, I didn't grab the bag with those really neat soaps. But put in some soap. But they have these really neat soaps. They're like a flake of soap. It goes in this little container. You take a flake of soap. You can wash, you know, so you don't have a bar of soap now that you're trying to figure out how to not get soap all over your stuff. But you put in like a bottle of lotion. Kind of the choice is yours of what all you put in here. I would recommend, you know, the product, washcloth, soap, you know, but then also put in an Everygirl card so that, especially if they happen to lose the last one, they can find you again. Or they can share it with a friend. But also, you can put an invitation in here. Maybe your women's group is doing a luncheon. Maybe you're hosting a parenting class or a mental health support group. Maybe there's something your church is doing that she might be interested in. So it's just a really great way to meet an important need, but make that personal connection. You know, when a person comes up alongside you and says, hey, I see this need, and nobody else sees it because we don't talk about it. I know this is a personal need, and I want to provide this product so that you can take care of yourself. When you're speaking to that kind of a need, that touches a heart. That shows that you care. And so that's how you get to start a relationship with somebody who lives in your church's community. Hopefully they keep coming back. Hopefully you can make a relationship. Yes, Will.
In the town where I live, we have a pregnancy resource center. That might be another good way for the church to be able to, reach those that need it, because often the people, they know, and that could be a good contact.
Yeah, and post-pregnancies, they need them, and So,
know that they care about women.
Yes. So that is a really great segue. So handing out the cards. Yes, no, yes.
This is something new to me, and maybe it's not new to you, but the menstrual cups.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the college girls to help sew these pads this summer. And they said, well, why don't you just buy these cups for them? And I said, well, education would be a big thing.
Huge thing. And that one would be a harder cultural. Yeah, and they would have to have running water, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to read up on menstrual cups, because that is just something it's newer enough to me. I haven't figured it out yet. But yeah, so I mean, there are, and also for your local ones, it's not a bad idea to have some of the reusable ones if somebody's interested. Our younger generation is a lot more interested in being able to reuse the product, and save the environment. And so, having, I wouldn't have a ton of them on hand, or you find out, somebody comes up and says, oh, do you have any reusable? No, but I can have some for you really quick if you want to come back and, and like I said, you can buy them on Amazon real quick if you needed to. So it's a way to get product quickly if you find that there's a need. So talking about where to hand them out at, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of agencies that I've met with. We are here with Oregon City Chamber because we have these two great organizations who are doing wonderful things for women in the area. And what they're helping us with is our Everygirl bags and our kits, where we help to get churches to get menstrual supplies into the hands of the women that need them. And so I am here with Bailey and
Josie.
And they are two great organizations helping women here. So Josie, we'll start with you.
So I'm Josie Greer. I'm with Clackamas Women's Services, and our organization helps survivors of domestic and sexual violence, child and elder abuse, stalking, trafficking here in our community. So we really appreciate donations of these bags, because often when people come into our services, they don't have a lot. So being able to offer basic needs products is so vital for the service that we provide, and then folks can focus on kind of other pieces of their life.
And then Bailey, can you tell us about your?
Yeah, I'm Bailey. I'm with Spark Wellness. We're an outpatient treatment center. We specialize in mental health and addiction services. We offer in-person and virtual services. We have a lot of women that come in. They don't really have a lot, they're struggling. And so the feminine products would be very, very helpful with them.
Well, great. And so we're hoping churches around the Oregon area, around the United States, would come on board with us and help get menstrual products into the hands of the women and girls who need them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah, so women's shelters, day shelters. We have an organization that isn't very well heard of in Oregon City. It's called Love Inc. And what they do is they focus on the working poor. And so people who are struggling to pay their bills, you know, who are trying to find rent for whatever reasons, they're just at a spot, maybe they can't get yard work done. It's a resource for people to call them and get connected with churches who provide support systems. And they have a pantry and everything going. And so we're working with them, so if anybody, you know, needs products, they know which church to call to send them to. Anybody else have any good suggestions of places in your area that you can think of that you would give a pile of these cards to?
The Canby Center in my right.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah.
I was talking at community service center, church, to have a pile of cards or a sign that said, you need, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our church has it's called every 2 Sundays every month we do, it's referred to as a friendship meals ministry. So we go to some areas that are economically challenged and provide just some meals and go door to door and give them out. And often, sometimes we might put a little carrot kit in there with some toothpaste and a couple other little things. A card in there would be very helpful maybe as well to get information if our church was enrolled, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely want this happening where churches are enrolled. And I know the Canby Center, Ohana Church just asked us for 100 bags. So, yes. So I think they're going to be on that. Yeah. So, yeah, Gladstone has their community center.
You provide the bags, and the church provides the content.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, we will. You can purchase the bags through us. Like I said, it's $1.25 for the bag. So it's really, really inexpensive. This is a very inexpensive ministry. I provide you with the PDF so you can print off the cards whenever you need them. And like I said, if you're like, my church is doing this, I will send you with a whole big stack of these to get you started. And if you are also really, really interested for camp meeting only, you come and talk with me up at the booth, because I have a booth up at the ministry tables. We will sell you the bags for $1 a piece. So we'll give you a little bit of a camp meeting discount if you go ahead and order them here during camp meeting time. So we are super excited about this. We talk to churches. Churches are super excited about this. But I also understand that, got to get a ball rolling, and sometimes that takes some time. So I'm really hoping to provide you with everything you need to help you with this process of getting this going. Because I know sometimes you have to talk to your pastor, you have to pass it through a board. There could be a lot of steps involved. I've heard them all. And so we just want to make this as easy for you as possible. I got that at Ross. Yes, Ross is a great place for baskets. Yep. Yeah, it's basically like a little clothes hamper. And it's kind of nice because it does have the lid, so it's not. Yeah. 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 So, yeah, Ross is a great place to look for those things. Walmart probably has some, make it kind of look nice. You don't want, cardboard box with a bunch of pads falling out of it in your church lobby. You have any other questions? Yes.
Another great place you could have the little note cards that be food banks.
Yes. Yeah, having them out of the food banks, like Hoodview, we could start throwing some cards in the boxes that they put out on Tuesdays, if the church wants to do the disposable side of things, which sounds good.
The first Sabbath of every month, a group of people from my church, we go down to this place called City Tea, down on Grand Avenue, and it's a drug rehab type program that the people live in, and we help serve them. And after they're done eating their meal, they open the doors to homeless. And for that part, it's co-ed, so that men and women come in.
Right.
So So that would be a great, because like definitely the women are homeless that are, you know, coming in there.
Yeah.
And then once at like 6:30, something like that, they close the doors. You know, start until they have to leave, and you know, so then they'll like clean up from the dinner, and then they will like lay out mattresses and stuff, and let the men, the homeless men, come back and sleep. They do have a shelter opening up soon, I believe, for women. They haven't quite gotten that done yet,
Yeah.
but I mean that would be a great place.
Yeah, it would. And I tell you, the population of homeless women have just exploded recently. I don't know what the numbers are, but I know it used to be a pretty low percentage of homeless were women, and now that number has risen drastically. And so, yeah, they're everywhere, you know. And like I said, you know, it just takes a loss of a job to become homeless. It just takes, you know, a divorce, you know, for a woman to find herself homeless. And so this isn't a homeless problem, because it is, you know, but this is a female problem, and women just like you and me. You know, I was fortunate. I never had to choose. I always had enough for my beds, but I tell you, things were tight when, especially first married and kids, you know. So this is a woman's problem that we can help to address, and it's all walks of life faces. Any other questions? Okay, so I promised you a story. So this is from my last trip to Ethiopia, and we took our little kits with us. I told you we had 23 kits that we took over there. Well, the lady in the orange scarf, that's Gannett. She is one of our workers over there. She is a phenomenal lady. She is amazing. Love her. We went into her village, and I had 11 kits to take into her village. And well, what I wanted to do is I wanted to find a couple of homes that I could go into, speak with the moms, and if there was any girls there, you know, speak to them and kind of learn about period poverty in Ethiopia, because I didn't know a whole lot about it yet. Well, instead of being able to go into a couple of homes and hand them out kind of quietly like that, it ended up being decided that she was going to bring a small group of women to this one location. I'd learned something about Ethiopia by that time. Things never go the way you want them to. You bring a small group, a large group comes. And by the time I was done talking with them about, you know, what it was like to have a period in Ethiopia, what kind of products that they had, what did they do, you know, there was about 50 women there. I tell you, the hardest thing I think I have ever done is to hand out 11 kits when there are 50 women who are, I don't care if it's small, I will take it. They didn't care. I was trying to hand those ones out to moms that at least had, you know, young girls, but they're like, no, I don't care. I will take whatever I can get. That broke my heart. And I promised them, I'm like, I will get you more kits. Lynette in Hoodview is helping me keep that promise.
Because I was there.
She was there when I was trying to hand them out. It was heartbreaking. And like I said, my supervisor, Taraku, he's already been going, Rochelle, they're wondering when more kits are coming. And I'm like, I got a church working on them. They're coming, I promise. And so things are gonna, but this still is a very small scratch of a very huge issue. You know, this is where I learned we can't make enough of these. But, you know, if we can make these kits and change the life of a woman in Ethiopia, change the life of a woman, you know, right next door who, yeah, oh wow, you care about me when I'm on my period? Wow, that says something. So I'm hopeful you guys will help me out and help me keep a promise and get this spread. We were just at GC. People from around the states are so excited about this. I am hoping, like I said, we got to get it rolling. It takes a while sometimes. But this can go global. We had people from Australia, Germany, Mexico, France. they are excited to do this project. So not only can you be a part of a project, in your little local community, this is becoming a global project, which is just crazy. And so if you want to get involved, that QR code sends you to a place you can sign up. Give me your information. I will contact you shortly. I got another camp meeting right after this one, and then I leave for El Salvador in 2 weeks. But somebody will get a hold of your church. So then we will make plans. We will help you get started. We will provide you with everything you need. Like I said, you can also leave here with a handful of cards, and you can come by the booth and order as many bags as you think you want. And this is a thing, some people get all freaked out. Oh, if I start handing out these cards, we're going to have hundreds of people knocking on our doors. We wish it was going to be that kind of a problem, but it's not. We have handed these cards out, and and we don't get a huge response right away. This is new, and as we get this going, so you'll get a call here or there. You're going to get people who are super excited and interested. But this isn't going to be something that you're going to all of a sudden be swamped with and overrun with 100 orders for all these pads and everything. But it's a project that you can do. It's pretty simple, pretty cheap, and makes a big difference. Hi, how are you? You caught me right at the end.
Oh, great.
So have you heard of the Everygirl project? Okay, good. Do you have any questions about it?
Well, probably everything you just said.
That's okay. Maybe not. So I can, yeah, go ahead.
Just how to inspire people, and I belong to a quilting group.
Okay. Yeah.
And they probably would love to do that.
I'll tell you what. Let me, if you will make sure you get me your information. I'm going to do this one again.
I have to just say that it's the quilters in my group that really
Yeah.
love making the shields. And they get matching fabric, and they just do such a great job on those.
Yeah, and I'll tell you too, you don't have to be a quilter. Those shields, I am not a sewer. I do know how to push down the pedal and guide through the fabric. That's about what I can do with a sewing machine, but I can make these pads. So it's not super complicated. Like I said, if I can figure all this out and get it put together, it's not super complicated. It's pretty simple to do. And if you don't have a lot of sewers, or you have some people who sew, but there's others like, well, this sounds neat, but I don't really sew, cutting out the patterns, putting things together, helping pack the bags afterwards. There's a lot on this project that doesn't require the sewing machine. So there's a lot of ways to get the men involved, kids involved. Another thing that our church did is we had a little spot where we had our little kids were making cute little cards they could put in the bag, just with cute little pictures on it, So it's something that everybody can do.
I have 5 granddaughters.
Yeah.
And I taught them to sew.
Nice.
And I think that I think there's a lot of learning that can happen.
Absolutely.
They live kind of in a sheltered world.
Yeah. I am learning more and more that a lot of us have the privilege of being raised in a sheltered world. And so when we can give our young people a glimpse of what's out there, and how to handle it with compassion and love, and that's a huge gift, because now someday they're going to step out into the real world. And it can be a shocker sometimes. And so projects like these is a great way to open eyes. I know when I first started doing my mission trips with Ultimate Mission, that was eye-opening, and so seeing how other people live and being able to experience that. Yeah. I have some videos I can share with you that you could use to show that, they touch my heart and speak to me, and this is such a big problem I didn't know about. So I will definitely share some videos with you to help you. And anybody else, if you guys want any of the videos that I showed you to show to your church, I am happy, myself or a representative, we are happy to come to your church. If this takes off like we hope, we won't have enough time to visit every church, but we want to provide you with all of the resources that we can.
I just filled that out.
Good.
But the thing is, I'm thinking you might already have my information because I called some number here.
Okay.
And I wanted you to come to my women's ministry day. Women's ministry day. You said somebody said you couldn't come.
Which church are you with?
Sharon.
Sharon Church. Okay. Oh. Okay. What day?
Contact me.
Yeah. So you probably talked with Elia. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more too, because we got so many projects going on. It's like everything. Yes.
I would be willing to help you too if you're off to El Salvador and somebody
Needs somebody to go talk to? Yeah. Thank you. That's awesome. No, that's wonderful.
And I wanted to say one more thing.
Yeah.
You saw that one place where we had 2 suitcases packed. We found that about 50 of these kits fit into one suitcase. And it wasn't so much, we used those plastic bags that you can suck all the air
Oh,
out.
yeah.
And we used that, and we could get 50 in there quite easily, but the weight was used up. So 50 is about right. And
Okay.
the smaller suitcase, actually we got 54 in that one.
Okay.
And all it is like a duffel bag with wheels. It's really good if you have something that you can put them in with wheels.
Yeah.
And we got those at, like Goodwill or Pax or someplace.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, once you have a bunch, contact us. We will help ship them overseas. So we go to India regularly, Philippines, so we can take small batches there. We can find we find contacts. In Philippines, it's easy to ship to the Philippines, but India is a lot, and Ethiopia are very expensive to ship to. But we make things happen. Any other ideas, questions? How can I help you? All right. Well, I'm gonna be the favorite teacher and let you out a little early then. So thank you. I'm here. If you want to come look at fabric, if you want to talk with me about patterns, if you want to grab up a handful of cards, of flyers. In fact, actually, before you leave, I will send you all with one of these. Oh, thank you. And this is just, you can show this to your women's ministry leader or your pastor, or it's just kind of a way to help you get started.
You say that you have a pattern back there?
Yes, I can send you home with a pattern. Also, on our website, there is a pattern. So I'm also going to.
I was going to say, this is all on.
Yeah. Yeah, you have that one. Here, we'll do it this way. I'm going to give you our Everygirl thing. On the back of the Everygirl flyer is my contact information, email, phone number. And it talks about the need and the project, so it's a great resource to share with your church. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and there's a QR code to the website, and there's a bunch of stuff on the website. You can pull the website up to show.
So does this have the video information? If we want to show a video.
If you want to show a video, I should figure out how to post some videos on there and get them.
Yeah.
If you want the videos right now, go ahead and I'll get your information. I'll email them to you. But I need to get them on the website. There's always, every time I do this, it's like, ooh, I should add this to the website.
I'm just going to pass these cards.
That works. Yeah, so, and like I said, we do have a booth, and we have an Ultimate Mission booth, so you can learn more about the ladies who work for us and help us get these kits out. So, all right. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'm going to close this. Yes, Lynette, go for it.
Before you close,
Yeah.
I want you to tell about the story of like Annette and how she was just a regular lady in the community and how everything became uplifted in her life because of Ultimate Mission.
All right. So yeah, Gannett and so many like her. So most of the women that we train are undereducated, and they don't have jobs. like I said, they are the wives of Bible workers and pastors. So that seems to be their life, you know. But like I said, they're also undereducated and they're underappreciated. And in places like India, Nepal, Christians are definitely looked down on, but so are women. Women definitely have a lower value in India. And when you're uneducated and you're a woman, you're nobody. And so as we've been training these ladies, and I know you're talking about Gannett, but I have a better story from India on that. We were talking with our ladies and we asked them, I said, now that you're healthcare workers, how are the men in the village treating you? Like, the men in the village are treating us better. Like, their value has come up in their village, both with the women and with the men. And then a worker shared something that just made me so happy. She shared, not only are the men treating us better, the men are treating other women better. They're starting a ripple effect. They're showing that women have value, that they have a skill. And part of it is we're teaching, basic health stuff, but like a lot of the men in India, they're unemployed, they're not working a whole lot. Drinking is a huge problem. Alcoholism in these villages is huge. We're talking like 70% of the men are alcoholics in these villages. So a lot of them are very abusive because of that. But as these women are going and they're showing that they care and they're helping the wives get better and now their kids aren't as sick and the husbands are starting to see this and they actually start taking some of the advice themselves and they're trying to stop smoking and they're trying to stop drinking. And so their habits and their patterns are changing. It's making such a huge difference in their villages. And it's just basic stuff. Hand washing, good nutrition, our 8 laws of health that we know so well here. Don't always practice it so well, but we know it. They don't even know, most of these things about health. And so it's an inspiration to be able to work with these women and to be able to uplift them and to make such a big difference. I don't feel like I'm doing anything, but it's amazing the big difference that it's making in our workers' lives and in the women's lives in the villages and the kids and the husbands. It really is a huge ripple effect. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out in prayer, and then I will stick around if you want to grab things, talk to me, whatever, I am here. Dear Father, I want to thank you so much for working with us in so many ways, through so many avenues. And I am just so excited that we get to work alongside of you and that you put passions in our hearts and that you give us things that make us so excited to be able to go out and do and help others. And I just ask that you will go with us from this room with this fire that our churches can see and that our pastors can see and our women's leaders can see and just understand how amazing this is and that we get to work for you, Lord, however you lead us. Thank you for working through us because I don't know why you do it sometimes, but I am so humbled and grateful. Thank you for each of the ladies who are here and special blessings on them as they go out. And the men too. We're kind of glad they came in too. Thank you, Lord, for your love, for your guidance, and everything else. Amen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.